Well, my son, a beautiful, compassionate soul, claims he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in any of this woo-woo stuff. Yet, in my mind, he's one of the most spiritual people I have ever met. I think he just doesn't have the same language as spiritual people, because he's a naturalist, an ecologist, and all for anything that causes less harm and does good for the planet. But he would never say Mother Earth or Gaia. And when I first began meditating, he kind of rolled his eyes to the process. He didn't see how it was possible to sit silent or even why anyone would want to. I remember once early on in my own awakening journey, we were on a family vacation together in spiritual Sedona, Arizona, where we went every year, which he would consider a great place to hike. But we would not be having those conversations about portals and vortexes that you and I know Sedona is famous for. And I was sitting outside our cabin reading a book, and he came out and asked me what I was reading. I showed him the cover while telling him the name Animal Speak, which, by the way, if you don't have it, it's a great reference book for spirit guides. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so he thumbed through it for a second, and then he tossed it back to me and said, "You don't really believe all of this stuff, do you?" Well, not wanting to get into a full-blown conversation requesting that I provide the scientific proof of metaphysics, which I normally cannot, I responded with a simple non-answer. I find it interesting. He walked away, and I continued to read the book. Days later, and me pages deeper into my book, once again, he approached me outside on my lawn chair and sat beside me. "So," he said, "a while back I was out running on a path in the woods near school," because at the time he was attending UC Santa Cruz, "and," he continued, "a bobcat crossed right in front of me, stopped me in my tracks, in broad daylight. I mean, Mom, it literally stopped and looked up at me, and then it just turned and ran off. I mean, seriously, Mom, no one ever sees a bobcat, especially not in broad daylight. So what does your book say that means?" I tried not to show my excitement in his interest. And I also knew that this was a very significant sign to have this happen and have the animal stop and look right at him. So I looked up bobcat. "You'll never believe this," I told him. "It says, disbelief in the metaphysical." He just looked at me, of course, in disbelief. "Seriously," he said, "let me see that." I handed him the book, and he read it. And then he handed the book back to me and quietly walked away. Not a word, no conversation. Now, I wanted to make sure that I really had my bobcat definition correct in order to tell you this story. So I pulled the Animal Speaks book off my bookshelf, and I looked up bobcat, and that is not exactly what it said. In fact, I was so determined to be sure my story was correct and that the definition of bobcat was indeed disbelief in the metaphysical. I spent hours going through all of my books. None of them said disbelief in the metaphysical. I even jumped in my car and went over to Marilyn's house and looked through her books. Maybe I had the wrong book. I could have sworn that that was what my son and I had understood, but to no avail. Then I thought, well, maybe I'm not really supposed to share this particular story with all of you. I mean, I had already spent hours looking for the proof that would make this story correct, and finally I decided I'll just go back and read through my ACIM lesson once again and see if there's another story I could relate to you. Oh, I know. I'll also check in with Pam Grout's book, The Course in Miracles Experiment. I often refer back to this when trying to understand ACIM myself, which was basically lesson number 84, which Pam had puzzlingly entitled, Namaste My Ass. Meaning, do you really believe in all this woo-woo stuff? Coincidence? I think not. What's additionally funny to me here, trying to prove to you this really happened, right? And just as I was going to give up and write about something else, I began to chuckle. I began to find all of this very entertaining. I mean, how ironic is it? Me trying to convince you of a story about my son who doesn't believe in any of this stuff. That a book nailed him as a person who doesn't believe in any of this stuff, simply because a bobcat ran across his path and looked at him. I mean, sometimes I just crack myself up at how Spirit puts so much proof right there in front of us, and we still want proof. When the whole story is like a dog chasing its tail, sometimes I think God is just up there laughing so hard at all of us cute little human beings, kind of like Happy Buddha rolling on his back, rubbing his belly. So when I finally returned to my computer to delete this whole story and start over again, I clearly heard, "Keep going." And once again, I realized the profundity of all of the signs that we are given on a daily basis that show us just how much we are guided and how much we are embraced and how much we are loved, and truly how magnificent each and every one of us is, and how much proof there is of it all around us, regardless of whether or not we believe that Bobcat is a spirit guide telling us to pay attention to what we cannot see or believe, regardless of whether or not the story we've told for years is actually correct or not. Because you see, my friends, I did go back and read the full spiritual meaning of Bobcat as totem. And what's fascinating about this animal and this conversation is its tail. Yep, its tail. The tail end. Wait for it, because it's coming at the end. So listen to this. Tails are the seat of the life force, and the bobcat's is short. The tip of the bobcat's tail is black, and underneath is white. This means it can easily turn on and off the creative forces as needed. The tail also ties the bobcat to some forms of sexual magic and mysticism. And using the cloak of darkness and secrecy, the bobcat can teach how to project and utilize the life force in silent but powerful ways. Sounds kind of metaphysical to me, kind of like just being love. The bobcat's magic is always most powerful when others do not know of it. Just speaking about it dissipates its powers. It goes on to say, for those to whom Bobcat comes, expect some new learning, formal or informal, in either case within 7 to 10 months. And by the way, the encounter with Bobcat for my son happened within this time frame, and he'd been thinking about it ever since. And that's not all. A Google search of animal speak revealed Bobcat has much to share with us, but we must be willing and open to receive these messages. Often, these people are mistaken for having chips on their shoulders. So Bobcat serves as a teacher to these younger people because they have so much philosophically to sort out. Which brings me back to Pam Grout's comment about ACIM lesson number 84, which, by the way, is a review of lessons 67 and 68, which are love created me like itself and love holds no grievances, which I will get to in a second. But do you recall Pam's title of this lesson? Namaste my ass. Meaning I don't believe any of this woo-woo stuff. With a bit of sarcasm, of course. Until I do. Until Bobcat appears to me. Or until I need proof that Bobcat has a message. Or maybe Bobcat message was for me. So, the moral of this story, it's basically the same as ACIM lessons 67 and 68. 67 says, again, love created me like itself. That no matter how life appears in its purest form, which is to say without a quote-unquote life sucks and then you die consciousness, that no matter what you believe or don't believe, everything is still possible. And 68 says, love holds no grievances. Love doesn't need to prove that the bobcat had special meaning. Love just is. Love is letting go, sharing openly, and watching even more love pour in. Love is seeing all the signs all around you and smiling. Love is all about knowing that you are love and loved. But what about the namaste my ass, Joy? How does that tie in here? For me, that's the really funny part. That's where Spirit has a sense of humor, as I've been guided to A, tell the story about my son, B, stop looking for the proof so that you'll believe my story, C, go back to the original ACIM lesson that I wanted to share with you, which, by the way, was where the proof was, and D, no. Think about the lesson of Bobcat and pay attention to the tail end. Belief in the metaphysical, belief in the unseen. We're so cute, trying so hard to be so spiritual and trying to prove our beliefs to others and recruiting on behalf of the universe when all we have to be is us, the pure, unadulterated form of love that we are. And as Adironnda always says, be the love you are, the love that doesn't have the quote-unquote life sucks and then you die consciousness. And poof, like magic, the proof tends to show up. Oh, and one last thing about my son. It's now a decade later, and his fiance introduced him to yoga, which introduced him to meditation, which is really cool, Mom, he tells me. It really helps de-stress me. And seriously, as I was writing, just about ready to conclude this spiritual happy hour message, I got a text from him. He's in Valencia, Spain, traveling with his fiancée, and the text reads simply, Valencia is friendly, ... And it's followed with a photo of a chalkboard with the following handwritten message, obviously by some other traveler. It reads, Hey you! Yes, you random person that I will never meet. I hope that you'll find happiness in life. If you're reading this, it's coming. Be patient. English may not be their first language. It did come from Spain. The universe got your back. Don't worries. You just can't make this stuff up. All right. How about a moment of Master Randy's music? He makes everything up. And then a special message from Adironnda and the Council of Light. Don't worries. The universe got your back. Namaste, my ass. Namaste, y'all.
So it is good day to you, huh? And good day to you, good day to you, good day to you, good day to you. She's playing on her telephone. And good day to each of you out there. In this world that through the miracles of modern technology, you can see us, and through our own energy, we can see you. And the bobcat, and the sun, and everything else in the world. For you see, it is all the illusion that you are creating. It is an illusion that you are creating the children in the world. It is an illusion that you are creating the bobcat to give you lessons. You are creating it all. And we love it when the creation is so entertaining. Because that is the key. The entertainment of the universe is you, humans. And as you are aware that things around you could possibly bring you a message. The vessel Marilyn the other day had a woodchuck come in front of her, stop in the middle of the road, sit up on his little hindquarters, look around and look directly at her and sit while she waited in the car that was like, okay, what are you doing there? We don't want to hurt you. So be on about your way. And he waited until the vessel Marilyn got the energy and message from him that, oh, the woodchuck is about paying attention to your home. And then he went on. So understand that the world is your teacher. The world is bringing you that effectiveness. And you do not need to convince anyone of what your beliefs are. You simply get the opportunity to live your beliefs and to know that your ideas are carrying through and your feelings about those ideas are coming back to you in ways that you did not understand or think that you planned. And yet that is the problem, is you think you're planning something when actually you're just feeling it, and then it is showing up around you. So you see, like in the story that the Joy told, in the story, her son, who didn't believe in any of this, brings forth information from a creature, a bobcat, that he can understand. And the energy, the information from that, is about paying attention to the end and the black and white of it. Is it either black or is it white? There's no in the middle. And yet, the world resides in the middle. The world resides in the gray area. When you speak, saying that it is one way or the other, you are eliminating all of those possibilities. You are eliminating the energy of honoring of you, of honoring of the vessel Marilyn, of honoring the council, of honoring each of our presenters, of honoring the entourage. That is where the gray area is. So where are you living? Black and white or technicolor? Now, many of you probably do not know what technicolor actually is. Full color spectrum. That is the way of this planet. Full color. That is the way of the frequency that is coming through. That is the way of the connection you have with you. We have said, be the love that you are. And there are many who say, what? What does that mean? Be the love that I am. Be the love that you are. What in the world are you talking of? What we are saying is you already are love. You already are living in your divine perfection, whether you believe it or not. You already are that. And all those other programs, ideas, beliefs, patterns, blah, 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 It's just that. Blah, blah, blah. Those colors that you covered yourself with. It may be protection, and maybe an illusion that you think that you are creating. And instead, it is time to look at the true perfection of you. The bobcat has a short tail. Does that mean he is any less perfect than the mountain lion who has a long tail? Or the cheetah who has a very long tail? Or an elephant who's got a little short fuzzy tail? No. The tail end is perfect because it helps you understand the past and the present and the future. It helps you understand that there's more to life than just a color spectrum. It helps you understand more of who you are. So, dearest beings of light, look for the signs in the universe. Look for the signs in nature, because we guarantee that the source of all that is, God, is placing something in your path to bring you information. Trust. And put it into the chat, huh? We love you deeply. We see you. We honor you. We love to play with you. Namaste, my eye.